situation that involves a broker. So a short sale is a sale of shares that you don't own. You don't own them as the investor. You borrowed them through the broker and later purchased to replace this loan. So let's go back to that. A short sale involves a strategy where you as the investor, you do not own those shares, but you have borrowed money or borrowed the shares through the broker with the intention of later in repurchasing those shares to replace that loan. So what's the mechanics? What's the process? Borrow stock from broker, so you must post a margin. Broker sells stocks and deposit the proceeds in your margin account. You cannot withdraw it. You have to cover that for you to withdraw it. Covering or closing out a position, this is how you do it. You buy stock, broker returns title to party from which it was borrowed. So for you to close out that position, you have to follow through and purchase those stocks to replace that loan. Okay? And they have different strategies. You have round trips. Round trips could be broken down further in long positions and short positions. In a long position, you buy first and you sell later. You assume that you're bullish. You're bullish. The market is bullish. So you think the market's going to go up. You think the stock is going to go up in value. And you have the short position where you sell first and you buy later. Bearish. You think the stock is going to fall. So you think the stock initially is going to fall. So let me sell it. Let me recoup some of that money. And then let me buy it at a lower price. So I've actually made that gain. So the round trip is a purchase and a sale. A purchase and a sale. That's a round trip. Okay? So, similar to buying a margin, you have the required initial margin, the IMR from the last example. Usually 50%. More for low price stocks. Liable, you are liable for any cash flows. So if there's a dividend on the stock, that's going to be added to the loan. Okay? So, there's also a maintenance. If you have a price on your stock less than $2.50, 2.50 cents, your MMR is $2.50. If your stock price is between $2.50 and $5, your maintenance margin requirement is 100%. Remember, you cannot withdraw the money until you're fully covered. The money has to stay in there. Alright? If it's between $5 and $16.75, then we're talking about $5 a share. If it's greater than $16.75, then we're looking at 30% of the market value. This is what you would have to have in your maintenance margin account, your maintenance margin requirements for you to be a part of the strategy. The broker is going to require this. So here's an example. You sell 100 short shares of stock at $60 a share. Right? $60 a share. $6,000 must be pledged to the broker. You must also pledge 50%. So you put up $3,000. Now you have $9,000 in the margin account. So $6,000 must be pledged to the broker, because the broker is the one facilitating this transaction, remember. Okay? So that $6,000 came from the $60 a share at 100 shares. You have to put up the initial margin requirement, that 50%. So you put up $3,000, 50% is $6,000. There's a total of $9,000 in your account. So your short sale equity is your total margin account minus your market value. So that's your short sale equity, this amount that you've put in. The maintenance margin for the short sale stock, remember the price here is greater than $16.75 because it's $60 a share. So we need 30% of the market value. Okay, 30% of the market value. So your requirement, remember you put up 50%, that's 3,000. The MMR, the minimum MMR, or the minimum margin requirement, is 1,800. So you have an excess of 1,200. An excess of 1,200 in your account. So the question that you could ask yourself, and you could actually do the math, following a similar example earlier, what price will you receive a margin call at? What price will you receive a margin call at? So when your equity is less than or equal to 30% of your market value, when your equity is less than or equal to 30% of your market value, so this is how we calculate equity. When market value is equal to your total, market value is equal to your total margin account divided by 1 plus your MMR. So in this case, your market value is 6,923. 6,923. Okay? So the price for the margin call, is 6,923. This is an error right here. This should be 923, not 293. Divided by 100 shares will give you $69.23. Okay? So this is the share value at which they may call the margin. Because the price is going up. The price is going up. Because we're hoping with a short sale to buy it at a cheaper price. But here we have the price going up. So that's not a good thing. So if this occurs, your equity is $2,077. Equity as a percentage of market value, you calculate it, you look at your equity over what the market value that we calculated is equal to 30%. Well, your equity position should be 50%, right? So you need to have put in an additional $1,384. You have to restore the margin, restore to the 50%. So you take that market value that we've calculated, divided by 2, or multiply it by 0.5, take away what is already in there for your equity position, and that will determine how much you need to put in. Okay? So this chart, this table, take a look at it, sort of sums up what we've just talked about. Okay? So in time 0, when you're purchasing a stock, we are buying a share. The cash flow is the initial cash flow. In time 1, receive dividends or you sell share, ending price plus dividend. Your profit would be ending price plus dividend minus the initial price. When it comes to a short sale, in time 0, you borrow the shares. Remember, you don't own them. You borrow the shares. You sell it. Money comes in. Time 1, or the other period, you repay the dividends, if there was dividends, and you buy shares to replace the share borrowed. So money is going out. So your profit is your initial price minus your ending price plus the dividend. So you see you're making profits in different spaces. Alright? When it comes to the purchase of the stock, you want your ending price to be higher. When it comes to the short sale, you want your ending price to be lower. So, significant regulations in the last decade. And, you know, some people think these regulations haven't even gone far enough. We have self-regulation by institutions like FINRA that hold their broker-dealers accountable, have their own guidelines, their own code of ethics, their own regulations and rules. Then we got Sarbanes-Oxley. Some of you might be familiar with that. That came out of the scandals from the early 2000s, the Enrons, the WorldComs. And we have regulation when it comes to insider trading. And that's when you use non-public information for you to take a position in a stock or sell a stock, and the public just doesn't have that same information to take advantage. So you're benefiting from arbitrage here, and the government says that's illegal. You may remember that Martha Stewart, if some of you are familiar with her, she went to jail for insider trading. And it's very important to make the distinction of what is insider trading. You're looking at somebody that has like an officer, a major owner. You know, if you're an officer of the company, the CEO, and your driver overhears a conversation and takes that trade, is that insider trading? Well, no. No, it's not. So you have to understand that insider trading is like inside information, okay? That non-public knowledge. But when you talk, that was then public knowledge because you said it in public.